Ladies and gentlemen, we will now transition into some opening remarks, and we will hear from Luana, the Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources, from the British High Commission, as well as from the government of Malawi. I take pleasure, therefore, in inviting Professor Emmanuel Kaunda, Vice Chancellor of the Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources, which is a co-host of this year's ANH Academy. Professor Emmanuel Kaunda, thank you.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies, Professor Alexander Kalimbila. Let me recognize the Minister of Health, Honorable Kumbize Kandodo Chiponda, MP. Let me recognize the Deputy Minister of Health, Halim Daud, MP. Let me recognize the Secretary for Health, and also the Director, and also the Director for Nutrition. Let me recognize the Director of ANH Academy, Professor Suneta Kandiala, and also the Co-Director, Joe Yates. Let me recognize the Chairperson of ANH2023 Scientific Committee, Professor Jeff Wedge, members of the academia and research institutions, students from universities all over the world, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure and honor that I stand before you as the Vice Chancellor of the Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources, the university that is co-hosting 8th Agriculture, Nutrition and Health Academy Week. On behalf of Luana and on my own behalf, I extend a warm welcome to all participants, researchers, policymakers, and practitioners who have gathered here from around the world to explore the critical nexus of agriculture, nutrition, and health. This week holds tremendous significance as it serves as a platform for fostering collaboration, sharing knowledge, and inspiring innovative solutions to address the complex challenges facing the global food systems. It brings together experts and stakeholders from various disciplines and sectors who share a common goal of improving the health and well-being of individuals and communities through sustainable agriculture and nutrition interventions. As we gather here, we recognize the profound impacts of climate change, in fact, as alluded to by the previous guest speaker. On agriculture, nutrition, health, and gender equality, and recent events such as Cyclone Freddy have wreaked havoc on vulnerable communities, leading to devastating consequences in Malawi and beyond. The cyclone has left a trail of destruction and loss, particularly impacting the agricultural sector and disrupting food production and supply chains, and exacerbating the already existing challenges of malnutrition and food security. We expect Cyclone Freddy to have a direct impact on nutrition and health outcomes, particularly among vulnerable populations. Notwithstanding that the aftermath of Cyclone Freddy exposed the gendered impacts of such disasters, women who often play a crucial role in agriculture and nutrition are now facing increased burdens and vulnerabilities as they grapple with the loss of livelihoods, food insecurity, and health risks. Our discussions must address these gender disparities head-on and ensure that our proposed solutions are inclusive and empowering. Today, I want to challenge each and every one of us to confront the stark reality that millions of people, particularly in province-stricken, climate-challenged countries like Malawi, are struggling in access to sustainable and nutrition diets. Malnutrition, both undernutrition and overnutrition, continues to plague our societies, hampering the well-being and future prospects of individuals, especially children. The profound impact of climate change on access to nutrition diets and food security cannot be overemphasized. Erratic weather patterns, extreme droughts, and devastating floods have become all too familiar, making it necessarily difficult for vulnerable communities to sustainably produce and access diverse and nutrition-rich foods. It is in this context that we must rise to the occasion and find innovative solutions to address the access to sustainable and healthy diets. We must strive to develop interventions that are context-specific, climate-smart, and inclusive, empowering communities to become resilient in the face of adversity by adopting a multidimensional approach that combines agriculture innovation, nutrition education, and equitable policies. If we do that, we can overcome the barriers that prevent individuals from accessing the nutritious food that need to thrive. Let me say this, as Luana, we stand very close to this session today. And I would like to express a heartfelt gratitude to the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine for considering Luana to be a co-host of this year's ANH Academic Week. You cannot imagine my boundless excitement when I heard the wonderful news that Luana will be co-hosting the 8th ANH Academic Week. The ANH Academic Week has long been recognized as a prestigious event that brings together the experts, researchers, policymakers, and practitioners from various disciplines from the regions. This is an extraordinary opportunity for our institution, Luana, to be co-hosting the ANH Week, a great opportunity for our own researchers, not only at Luana, but most on all universities within Malawi. With this recognition, Luana is further solidifying its position as a leader in these crucial areas of nutrition, agriculture, and health, and reinforcing its commitment to fostering positive change. Let me say that as Luana, in our little corner, been trying to be as relevant as possible, trying to bring impact onto society, both here in Malawi, but also in the region. That's why currently we are hosting what we're calling 3 centers of excellence, again, to see if we can have more impact. One center of excellence is on aquaculture and fisheries, and this is a center that is known, not just known, but it's a center not only for Malawi, but within the region also, Southern and Eastern Africa. We've also got a second center, which is on transformative agriculture and commercialization, in line with our pillars, Malawi 2063, again for the region, not just for Malawi. The third center is a center for agriculture policy, analysis, APA, again for the region. But as we host ANH 2023, we are more invigorated to be on a project which we started some time back, that we must have a fourth center. And this is a center which we started working on for food systems. Therefore, the hosting of this ANH 2023 gives us more energy and positions us to do more, to work very closely with the Ministry of Health, which is present here, with the Nutrition Department, with all the key stakeholders in Malawi, but also within the region, to ensure that our communities out there benefit from the scientific knowledge, from the innovations that are actually coming from our university. Therefore, let me extend my sincere appreciation to the organizers, the sponsors, the volunteers, and all who have worked tirelessly to make this Academy Week a reality. Your commitment and dedication to tackling these critical issues are very commendable. And I'm confident that this week will be a catalyst for positive change, which our guest speaker particularly talked about. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you all a productive and inspiring week ahead. We have been taught that no longer we should be pessimistic, we must be positive. And thank you very much for your attention.
Those are the remarks of the Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources through Vice Chancellor Emmanuel Kaunda. And thank you very much, Professor Kaunda, for your remarks. As you may have heard earlier on in the opening remarks by the Director of ANH, the UK government co-funds the ANH Academy, Imana, and its activities. And therefore, Her Excellency Fiona Ritchie, the British High Commissioner to Malawi, is here to render support of the British people to this event that's occurring here. And I take pleasure in inviting Your Excellency to come and address this gathering. Thank you.
Honourable Minister of Health, Kambuzi Kandodo Chiponda, and Honourable Deputy Minister of Health, Halima Daud, Vice Chancellor of Luana, Professor Kaunda, Directors Piri and Dube, and all other senior government officials, academic leaders, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I'm really delighted to be standing here in front of so many people here today. I think none of us are yet quite used to coming together in such large numbers, and I think we've all really missed it. And it really is inspiring to see how much energy is here in this room. And I'm really glad that we were able to reinstate Malawi as a country for this discussion. You really couldn't have chosen a better country or a city to discuss these important issues. As you've heard, the UK, together with partners like the Gates Foundation, invests heavily in research across the agriculture, nutrition, and health spectrum. It's therefore really exciting to see events like this discussing cutting-edge research, which involves analysing and tackling problems in new ways. And this has to be alongside explicit and realistic consideration of the political economy of the contexts in which these innovative ideas have to be implemented. I know that this network has already pushed out the boundaries of interdisciplinary research, For example, through linking research on food insecurity and mental health, and looking at the impact of biofortification on educational results. And these are issues with important ramifications for development partners' work in countries like Malawi. Tackling this range of subjects together makes so much sense. Of course, we should expect that the agriculture sector can deliver nutrition and health outcomes. And nowhere is that more important than here in Malawi. Most people here make their living through agriculture, and we absolutely need to work together to ensure that Malawi's growing youth population is given the best possible start in life by being well-nourished with healthy and affordable food. We know that undernutrition, particularly during pregnancy, the early years, and in adolescence, impacts on multiple health outcomes, from the ability to fight off infections such as COVID and cholera, to the chance of developing long-term conditions like diabetes or hypertension. Not only that, but the evidence shows that malnutrition reduces productivity and slows economic growth. So we really have to break this cycle of poverty and ill health if Malawi is to reach its 2063 vision of self-reliance. The UK is very much tuned into this agenda. The Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office's newly appointed Permanent Secretary for Development last month highlighted the enormous progress that Malawi has made in reducing child mortality since the millennium. And we know that a big part of this story is significant progress that was made in the late 2010s. However, we also know that the last few years have been really hard, and we've seen stalled progress in reducing poverty and food insecurity, and the trajectory of malnutrition hangs in the balance. We need a laser focus on malnutrition to ensure that gains are not lost. The UK is fully aligned behind the implementation of Malawi's new health sector strategic plan. This aims to accelerate progress towards universal health coverage. We applaud its focus on evidence-based prioritization of limited resources and on integration, quality, and value for money across the health system. This runs through from prevention to treatment, as well as outside the health sector, looking to the contribution of the wider determinants of health, such as agriculture. But of course, agriculture in Malawi really has to do more than just deliver nutrition and its associated health outcomes. It has to do multiple things at once. 80% of the population depend on agriculture, so it also has to create wealth, and that is in an increasingly unstable climate. Last week, I was able to travel to Palombe, which, as you know, is one of the districts that was worst hit by Cyclone Freddy. And for me, I've been out of Malawi for a while, and it was really personal for me to be able to go there quickly after I got back to really understand from the communities themselves what it felt like and how they are managing to rebuild their lives under really challenging circumstances. It was very moving. But one of the things that struck me was talking with farmers about how they could reduce their vulnerability to climate shocks. And that's beyond meeting their sort of immediate needs for food, which we and others are helping with. But one of the answers was really stark. They didn't know if the next rainy season was going to bring drought or floods, heat waves, or more moderate temperatures. So how do you plan your annual meal plan or your household budget based on that uncertainty? The UK has gone a long way in putting into practice ideas on how to build resilience, including through our Building Resilience and Adapting to Climate Change programme. But we need to keep revisiting and expanding the toolbox to make sure that farmers have the stability they need to take safe bets, as well as providing safety nets for when they fail. The farming sector needs to help generate exports that Malawi desperately needs to help restore some balance into the economy. This need is particularly acute here, where fuel, fertilizer, and medicine compete for foreign exchange. This creates a real trade-off between health, food security, and economic growth. Of course, the same challenges face many African countries at the moment, where the gap between imports and exports has surged, and this has imperiled government budgets as they spend much more on servicing debt. For the UK, as well as working on food security and health, we remain focused on this economic challenge, and we recently launched a new value chains programme that will help support exports, including in agriculture. So where does that leave us in terms of what we task agriculture to provide? With this plethora of goals for agriculture, researchers, governments, and their development partners need to be really, really focused and sharp about what each intervention needs to do. And we really can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good enough. A case in point, the government of Malawi knows that its affordable input programme of fertilizer subsidies is suffering from a range of challenges, both global challenges and from within Malawi. And this programme is struggling to perform against its stated objectives of improving yields and reducing food insecurity. Yes, it needs reform, The government knows this very well, and development partners are working really closely with government as it changes its approach and provides some of the beneficiaries with cash transfers rather than fertilizer. But we can't pile on too many technical demands for perfection that might lead to delays or might lead to governments feeling that programs like this are impossible to do correctly or to do in a way that will make a change to people's lives. The government of Malawi, like governments in many countries that are struggling to deal with rising costs of living, has some tough choices to make in order to meet the needs of its people. And of course, people need food, and for that, the farmers need fertilizer. Newspapers have reported recently on government deals to provide fertilizer, sometimes questioning the value for money. But it is no good criticizing without offering alternatives to the current without offering alternatives that might actually have a greater impact. So, in the current economic climate, Malawi will need approaches that make good economic sense. So in the case of fertilizer, for example, it's important that the government doesn't end up paying over the odds. It also needs not to risk the delivery of other critical spending priorities that are needed to meet its Vision 2063 of becoming a middle-income country. And also these approaches need to be technically feasible and likely to deliver the right outcomes. I'm struck by our keynote speaker, Kumi Naidu, talking about how to speak truth to power, how to be constructive, how to work together, but also really, really critically, and this is something that my government has been working on for a long time, how to speak clearly and how to tell a compelling story. When we were having our questions in the Menti session earlier, we were being asked whether facts are still relevant. And I think most of us were coming out in the middle, where yes, they're still relevant, but on their own, they're not enough. So we really need to find a much simpler way to convey what it is that we're talking about. And it's really sort of incumbent on this community, not only to come together, to come up with the evidence, but also to really use it to be as clear as possible so that we can work collectively with our partners to design the best approaches. So I really encourage you all to consider real-world examples and policy choices in your discussions this week. And I feel really confident with the energy in this room that you're going to be able to do that. And that's what's really going to help for us to develop new approaches to improve nutrition and health outcomes. But of course, do acknowledge that there are trade-offs, and please do cost those trade-offs, because that is also a really important factor for decision makers. But do call out flawed approaches where the evidence for continuing to do things in the current way no longer stacks up. I can assure you that the UK will continue to place a high premium on evidence of what works, and we ask our partners in government to do the same. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best for a really productive week.
Those are the remarks of Her Excellency Fiona Ritchie, the British High Commissioner to Malawi. Ladies and gentlemen, as earlier indicated, the government of Malawi has placed its weight and support on the ANH Academy this week. And therefore, we have, as we indicated earlier, the Honorable Minister, Honorable Kombize Kandolo Chiponda. We also have accompanying her Honorable Halima Daudi, who is the Deputy Minister of Health, and accompanying them as well is Dr. Queen Dube, Chief of Health Services in the Ministry of Health, and other officials from the ministry that are putting all their entire support to welcome you all to Malawi, the home heart of Africa, and indicate that the government of Malawi is behind this event. I therefore take the honor of inviting Dr. Queen Dube, the Chief of Health Services in the Ministry of Health, to come and render her remarks. Thank you.
Good morning. Didn't we have breakfast? This is all about agriculture, nutrition, and health. Good morning. The guest of honor, our Minister of Health, Honorable Kombize Kandolo Chiponda MP, Deputy Minister of Health, Honorable Halima Daudi MP, Your Excellency Fiona Ritchie, the British High Commissioner to Malawi, Vice Chancellor of Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources, Professor Emmanuel Kaunda, our keynote speaker. Kumi, where are you? Thank you for that amazing, amazing keynote. Representatives of the ANH Academy, Sunita and Joe, Director for Nutrition, Dr. Felix Pensolopili, senior government officials present here, distinguished researchers and academicians, our farmers. I know we also have farmers in the audience. You make things happen, and so we're very proud of you. Wherever you are, if you're a farmer, just wave your hand. Oh, we do have a couple of farmers, amazing. International delegates, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Guest of honor, it is indeed a great honor to have you officially open this amazing meeting. This, we've been told, is the 8th Annual Agriculture, Nutrition and Health Academy Week. It's beyond a week because you started on the 19th and you're ending on the 30th. So maybe we shouldn't call it a week, we should call it a month. Honorable Minister, my duty this morning is actually not to make a long speech, but to officially invite you to open this 8th Annual Agriculture, Nutrition and Health Academy Week, which Malawi is hosting for the first time. We're supposed to host this meeting in 2020, and we're so super excited that beyond, after COVID, we still have COVID cases, but once now it's no longer a global, of global concern. We're so excited that you remembered us and decided to host this week's meeting in Malawi, the warm heart of Africa. So takulandirani, and we hope you will enjoy your stay during the number of days that you are here. But before I invite you, Honorable Minister, to come and officially open this meeting, let me just say a few remarks. Every other speaker that has come to the podium have emphasized the importance of research, the role of research, especially during these critical times that we're living in. Times that when we were young, it was very easy to predict. And I remember just a few years back, people would predict the amount of harvest we would have as a country. They would tell us such and such metric tons of maize, such and such metric tons of beans that we're going to harvest. Now it is so difficult, even with the most intelligent, even with the most amazing modeling you can ever do. It is so difficult to predict. We woke up in March this year to a day when people in the region lost hectares and hectares of their crops. At a stage when they were about to harvest in the next 2 to 3 weeks, they were brought back to square one. And nobody had predicted next. And so calls on us as academicians and researchers to also start to think outside the box. Look at our methodologies. Look at the traditional way we've always done research. Ask ourselves difficult questions. It's also time to reflect and do business. Everybody else seems to be talking about climate change, this, climate change. But what does that mean to a poor woman who now sat on the veranda of their home, not knowing what they were going to eat next day? What does that mean to a 5-year-old who's gone hungry with his or her mother? Not because they're fasting, but because they have no food. What does that mean? So, Minister, the guest of honor, the 3 areas, agriculture, nutrition, and health, are very closely linked. As we say, there is no health without nutrition. And so Malawi is so excited with this meeting and the sharing of the various research papers, which esteemed academicians will be sharing this week. Very important, even as across the globe, Everybody else seems to be talking about food systems and climate change, as I earlier mentioned. If us as a country will not look at these issues seriously, we will continue to count many more children, many more women, and many more boys and men losing their lives. But in a way, it is good that whichever meeting you go to, people are talking about nutrition, they're talking about climate change. But the question that we should all be asking ourselves and reflecting upon, when do we start to implement? Beyond the publications that help us move up the academic ladder, when do we start to implement? When do we implement at a much? Are we implementing at the rate, at the same pace that these climate change issues are happening? So beyond the papers and publications, the work in the laboratories, climate is not waiting for us. As our esteemed keynote speaker said, the planet rather, has nothing to lose. It is you and I that will be made extinct. At which time point, the planet will recover and life. I don't know whether the next phase we will have human beings after we're all extinct. But that made me to think when I sat on the chair, I don't want to be extinct. Life is so sweet. But you know what? There were people that went to bed on that horrible Sunday night in March, and they had great plans for the next morning. And at 2 a.m., a whole area was wiped away. 150 houses were buried in a city in Blantyre, in Malawi. All the plans are now 6 feet under. Some of those bodies we will never be able to retrieve. That's a reality that we're dealing with. But there is hope on the horizon. And that's why you and I are here in this meeting. So with those few remarks, let me invite our guest of honor, our Honorable Minister of Health, Honorable Kumbize Kandodo Chiponda, to come and officially open the meeting. And most welcome to Malawi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dube, our Chief of Health Services. Let me recognize the presence of our Honorable Deputy Minister, Honorable Halima Daud, MP, Her Excellency, the British High Commissioner, Madam Fiona Rich. It's good to have you this morning, and all officials from the High Commission, the Vice Chancellor of the Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources, Professor Emmanuel Kaunda, and all officials from Rwanda. Our keynote speaker, Mr. Kumi Naidu, thank you so much for your presentation this morning, so inspiring. We are so proud to host you in Malawi. Representatives of the ANH Academy, Ms. Netha Kadiara, and also Mr. Joe Yaz. It's good to welcome you to Malawi. Our Director of Nutrition, Dr. Pesulo, and all officials from the ministry directors and the deputy directors from the Ministry of Health, and all other senior government officials from other ministries and also other departments, distinguished researchers and academians present this morning, our international delegates, and also online participants. You are welcome this morning. Our farmers, alimatu amene muli pano, poti nali ntakhala basi sinakuoneni, ali kuti alimatu. Our farmers, thank you so much. Taimirirani tikuombere nkoni manja. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate members of the media present this morning. And of course, our MC, Professor Kalimbela. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I know breakfast is gone because this is almost 11 o'clock. Maybe it's time for a healthy break. But good morning. I am greatly honored to be here to preside over the official opening of the 8th Annual Agriculture, Nutrition and Health Academy Week, which has convened the global community of researchers, practitioners, and policymakers working to address the most pressing challenges relating to food systems, climate change, and health. Let me first thank the organizers of this very, very important meeting and their partners as well. And of course, the British government through you, Her Excellency, Madam, we say thank you so much. And of course, also officials from the Bill and Miranda Gates Foundation, from Rwanda, but also from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, and all others who have been involved in organizing this very, very important meeting. We say thank you, and as Malawi, on behalf of all Malawians, and of course, also on behalf of our state president, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, we want to welcome you to Malawi, the warm heart of Africa, and we hope that you feel at home. We gather here in Malawi at a time of great significance for food and nutrition security as the world is in the grips of global food crisis, and also as hundreds of millions of people globally are food insecure and are unable to afford nutritious diets, which is critical for their health. At the same time, consumption of cheap, unhealthy, and highly processed foods is steeply increasing, leading to overweight and obesity, which puts people at risk of non-communicable diseases. Also of a concern to me, we should do, and this is one of the issues which I think all of us we need to talk about. It is also about food wastage. As much as we're talking of food insecurity, there's also a lot of food wastage. Here in Malawi, my colleagues, Malawians, you agree with me that if we can just move from here and go along, whether we go to the south or whether we go to the northern part of Malawi, along our roads, you find plenty of foods. We are so blessed as a country, Malawi. We have got very rich soils. We produce a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, a lot of tomatoes. But it is very sad that I have to go to ShopRite to get sun-dried tomato when there's plenty of tomato which is rotting in our communities. We have so many vegetables, variety of vegetables, but which we are not taking care of. What is it that we can do? So I'm happy that we have you, our researchers, who can assist us, our academicians. What is it that we can do? Because before we think of what else we need to do, let's think of how do we preserve what we already have? Because we already have plenty. How do we take care of what we already have as a country or as a world, as a community? What is it that we can do? Because we talk of community empowerment, our villagers, our people in the rural areas. In Malawi, about 70% of our people, they're in the rural areas. They've got natural fruits there, which they go to waste. How can we assist them? That they take care of what already is being provided. Some of the fruits or the vegetables, you don't even have to water them. You don't even put fertilizer. You don't need anything. But they're provided by God and by the environment. What is it that we can do? That we take care of what is already available to us before we think of, okay, how can we increase? How can we increase our tonnage of what we produce? What is it that we can do to increase whatever? Let's think of what is it that we can do to take care of what is already being provided to us. Ladies and gentlemen, similarly, inadequate supply of nutritious food, especially in the low-income countries, is contributing to increase to poor health, leading to acute malnutrition in the form of child wasting. On the other hand, micronutrient deficiencies, also referred to as hidden hunger, are on the rise, leading to compromised cognitive development among children, especially within the first 1,000 days of their life. These challenges are putting health systems as well as public finances and also personnel already rearing from the COVID-19 pandemic under unprecedented stress. Ladies and gentlemen, here in Malawi, just months ago, we witnessed how ferocious the climate breakdown is, with Cyclone Freddy devastating large part of the southern region of Malawi, wiping out villages, wiping out crops, and also creating a large-scale public health emergency. So many of these challenges we face today, from the pursuit of planetary and human health to economic sustainability, equity, and justice, are linked to the intricate interlinking activities, practices, and forces that shape what we eat, how it is produced, how it is prepared, and how it is consumed and also disposed of. Harnessing this diverse food system, actors and activities can help us to collectively charter a better course. But it won't come easy. The excellent keynote speech that we just heard from Kumi Naidu highlighted just how hard we need to work to build bridges, bridges that cross disciplines, bridges that cross sectors, bridges that cross geographies, bridges that cross societies. Only through breaking down these silos we will be able to generate and use the evidence needed for policies that materially improve the health of our populations. It is in the light of this that the government of Malawi is delighted to be co-hosting the 8th Agriculture, Nutrition and Health Academy Week Conference here in Lilongwe. I'm proud to say that Malawi has made important progress in maternal as well as child nutrition. Malawi is on course to meet 2 global nutrition targets for maternal and child nutrition. Childhood wasting and childhood obesity is now at 2.6%, while the average for Africa is about 6%. The prevalence of overweight children under 5 years of age is at about 4.4%, and Malawi is on course to prevent the figure from rising. Ladies and gentlemen, Malawi has seen some success in reducing its child stunting from 55% to 34%, and also the vitamin A deficiency from 59% to 4% in the last 20 years. We also made progress towards achieving the low birth weight goals, but we need to press ahead as 14.5% of infants still have a low weight at birth. Anemia among girls and women remains our huge concern, now at about 31.4%. At the same time, there has been a rapid increase in the diet-related non-communicable diseases, meaning that we need to arrest and reverse this trend at this stage. Ladies and gentlemen, given that adequate nutritious diets are critical to address both undernutrition and nutrition-related non-communicable diseases, it is imperative that people are able to produce or to buy nutritious food. However, food is just one of the determinants of health. There are others like safe water, like sanitation. Here in Malawi, we're just coming out of the worst cholera outbreak in the history of our country, where we lost 1,700 Malawians to cholera. Cholera, a disease which is easily preventable. That is why we are saying, apart from health issues, apart from having enough medicines, we need more. We need issues to do with sanitation. We need also to address issues to deal with safe water, as we are talking about nutrition. All of these deserve a multi-sectoral action and a multi-sectoral approach. It is therefore inspirational to see this large group of people students, researchers, practitioners, policymakers, all gathered here today to push the multi-sectoral agenda of elimination of all forms of malnutrition and also fostering the health of populations and, of course, the planet. We need local solutions. We need local innovations. Ladies and gentlemen, by bringing together this diverse group of researchers, practitioners, and policymakers to learn and to share, the days ahead hold great promise in advancing our collective efforts to improve the health and well-being of our population. SDG number 3, Sustainable Development Goals number 3, says about good health and well-being. And we had committed globally that at least by the year 2030, we would have achieved that. We are only 8 years away from 2030. Where are we? What is it that we have achieved? What is it that we need an accelerated roadmap to 2030. As Malawi, we also have our own 2063 agenda, whereby we're saying by 2063, we need a Malawi which is self-reliant, a Malawi which, moves from least development to at least a middle income. But for that to happen, we need Malawians, we need our citizens who can be productive economically. But for them to be productive economically, they need to be in good health. So there is so much which we can do, all of us. It is our responsibility. So it is not the issue about the Ministry of Health. It is not just about the Ministry of Agriculture or Ministry of Water and Sanitation. No, we need to have the citizens themselves on board. Whatever recommendations we can come up here as researchers, as practitioners, as academia, for it to work, we need to have our own people on board. We need to move with them. Because we can say whatever, no, we need to do ABCD, when you're growing groundnuts, make it 15 centimeter or whatever, what, you need to do ABCD. No, this is the kind of fertilizer which you need to increase your yield, to process the food, you need to do ABCD. We need to have Malawians on board moving with us. That is the only way we can achieve our goal of a better Malawi by the year 2063. So lastly, on behalf of Malawi government and on behalf of all Malawians, once again, let me welcome you and wish you an exciting, enriching, and fulfilling week ahead. With these remarks, I now declare the 8th ANH 2023 Academy Week. Is it Academy Week? I've forgotten. Yes. I now declare the 8th Agriculture, Nutrition, and Health Academy Week officially open today. Thank you so much. God bless you all.